Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be talking about Critical Role's one-shot Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, you probably know if you've been following my channel for quite some time or even just recently, I've never really focused that much on Critical Role. It's not exactly in my wheelhouse. Although I have enjoyed their Vox Machina cartoon series on Amazon, and I have Amazon Prime, so I watched it there, and I actually enjoyed those. Now, last week I caught Candela Obscure, and was really quite interested in it. And I like the theme. I like the way it was pretty much running. The system, they came with a system that illuminated worlds, and kind of like the way that system was looking as well. I mean, there were certain things that I wasn't, wow, this is a really awesome, incredible system. But there were elements of it that I could definitely see is easy to translate to what they're looking to do there. Um, Now, that being said, looking at both of these, I do have one issue about their live streams, and that's the time of them. So they come in. I'm on the East Coast, so they come in at 10 p.m. my time. And I'm not, and usually on a weeknight when I have to get up the next morning. And so it has become an issue where I really can't push it beyond 12 o'clock midnight on my time. So I'm only catching about an hour and a half to 2 hours of these. And although I've enjoyed both of them, I just can't, I just can't make it all the way through to whenever they're going to run. They tend to, live streams tend to run, 4, 5 hours, and just can't do it to 1, 2, possibly even 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'll have to wait for them to come out and come out in their video form so I can watch them as they're uploaded as videos. I don't know why there's a 2 week delay either. I think that's kind of long. So those are my two gripes about their live streams, that that they are starting too late at night for us on the East Coast, I would say, and um, and the fact that you have to wait 2 weeks to actually finish watching the episode that you already invested in. I guess you could try to record them, and that's a possibility, but I didn't do that. So anyway, let's get on to the basic question that I put here is, what does this one shot say about Critical Role's connection to D&D, and in particular I'm talking about 5e D&D and Wizards of the Coast in the future. And so I'm not going to bury that lead too far longer. I'm going to come out and say that I think it's pretty clear. It should be obvious to anyone looking at it that by the end of 2023, Critical Role is going to be done with 5e, and they'll be done with 5e, and they will move on to their own systems, or certainly expand to other systems. Now, the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom one shot is loosely based on Blades in the Dark. And they were upfront and came out and said it, that this is a severely hack version of Blades in the Dark, which is really more like Illuminated Worlds, which is their actual system, which is also built off of the Blades in the Dark, powered by the Apocalypse system. So, and he specifically mentioned powered by the Apocalypse system. So, and then when I show you the graphic that really relayed that information to me, that they were not using 5e, I know that there is at least one commentator out there that felt that, oh, Critical Role is going to do The Legend of Zelda, and this is now going to connect the Zelda universe and Nintendo's universe to Dungeons and Dragons 5e, and that could not be more astoundingly wrong. Um, all indications show that Critical Role is moving from 5e, and they're moving to other systems, likely their own. So let's talk about what I watched last night, and I'll recap a little bit about what I saw with Candela Obscura. So both are using a totally different system than 5e, not even truly compatible with 5e. So let me show you the graphic, and I'm going to switch views here. So this is the graphic, right? And as soon as I saw, they didn't go in the order. It was kind of weird. Like the first character that was brought up is here, and you can see there are only three stats and two other stats, but I'm not quite sure how they work here. But there was only three stats, and then the hearts above the top is their lifeline, right? Their heart points. So definitely a Blades in the Dark slash Powered by the Apocalypse system that they're using. And so you have a bunch of birds. You have two birds. You have this lizard-looking thing, and you have these two kind of look like giant kind of creatures. I'm not that familiar with the Legend of Zelda. I mean, I played it back in the day, and when I say back in the day, like when it first came out, I might have played the first one. Maybe I was 12 or 13 years old when it first came out. And, I'm 56 now, so it's quite a long time since I played Legend of Zelda. So anyway, but it's clear this is not using this is not using 5e, which they could have done, but I have a feeling that this one shot is Critical Role's pitch to Nintendo to allow Darrington Press, their press company, their publication company, to create a Legend of Zelda based tabletop role playing game. And the reason why I'm fairly certain that Nintendo will not approach Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro to do that is that Nintendo has a past history with Wizards of the Coast with Pokemon, and it wasn't a very good um, situation between the two of them. And so it was never done again. So I have a feeling that what this really is this is a pitch. Let us create your tabletop role playing game under Darrington Press, and I have a feeling that they are going to. Um, I have a feeling that they're going to run with that and be successful with it. So let's talk about the actual broadcast yesterday. And like I said, I didn't catch very much of it because, to be honest with you, I was asleep after watching about an hour. I didn't even catch up to when it was actually the live stream. I was watching it from the beginning and moving forward. It's only quite about an hour and a half or so of it, which put me around midnight when I finally just turned it off. So, so the voice of Donaldorf himself is Matthew Mercer, as he leads Emily Oxford, Omar Najam, Robbie Damon, Liam O'Brien, and Marisha Ray. All right, so two of those names, Liam O'Brien and Marisha Ray, are obviously regular Critical Role, and then the other three individuals are new, or at least I've never seen them before. I never watched Critical Role seasons 1, 2, and 3 to see if they've done. I've seen portions of them here and there, but never watched them in their full entirety. So Emily Oxford, I believe, well, I know is this woman here in the center, and her character is this Babson, over here. They didn't do them in order either. It went one was this guy down here, and this guy down here is Robbie Damon, and then it went from Robbie Damon. Then the next person that talked about his character was um, was Omar Najam, and then it went to here where Marisha Ray spoke about her character, and then it went to Liam O'Brien, and then finally finished off with the Emily Axford. So Emily Axford wrapped it up, and I didn't see it very far beyond that. Matt Mercer mentioned the system that they were using, after the introductions portion. And he explained basically the dice mechanics, where most of the dice mechanics are a combination of rolling 2d6 and then adding your modifiers to those. And basically, a 1 through a 6 is a fail. 7 through 9 is a mixed success, and then a 10, 11, 12 is a an exceptional success. And then they also use d20s, I believe, for combat, and so there must be like a target number that you need to hit, and that's really the two types of die that you need, is a d20 and a d6, and you actually only need three of them to manage everything that you're doing. So very, very much a different system than what you might be familiar with Dungeons and Dragons. So so both this game session and obscure obscura last week, they're both using a game system related to Powered by the Apocalypse. And I think that this is a clear message that Critical Role is moving on. And, I am, I will say it now that I predict by 2024. Now, they're going to announce in the next Gen Con coming up, I believe it's in June, or July. They're going to mention in the next Gen Con their kind of where they're going forward with their new system for Candela Obscura, as well as Daggerheart. Now, I'm fairly certain that Daggerheart is going to be a D20 system. Daggerheart is described as being a long-term campaign fantasy role-playing game, and so I have very little doubt that it's going to be a D20 based system. It is meant to challenge D&D 5e. All right, it is meant to challenge Wizards of the Coast, and I think that it's going to do extremely well. I think that if they do a Kickstarter, you're looking at another record-breaking Kickstarter, well over $10 million. I know that one of their previous Kickstarters had broken that record before. So it is definitely going to shoot Darrington Press up to being a major player. And if Darrington Press secures the Legend of Zelda IP to run and opens up that connection between Nintendo and Darrington Press, the sky's the limit for them. And I think that they are going to be true um, challengers to not just Wizards of the Coast, which is kind of small, but it's part of Hasbro, and I think Nintendo dwarfs Hasbro. Um, I mean, I haven't exactly looked at their numbers. I mean, I could have done that beforehand, but I'm fairly certain Nintendo dwarfs Hasbro. Um, so with any, I'm sure someone will come in the comment section and say, no, these are what the actual numbers are, and I'm actually going to look them up as well, to double check and make sure. I will be the first one to put in the comment section, I stand corrected, if that's what needs to be done. So that's basically my take. I enjoyed both live plays for as much as I was able to catch them. I'm looking forward to them coming onto YouTube as as a video that I'll be able to sit there and watch, and and then I'll watch them in their entirety, and I'll come back with some additional feedback on my impression of them. But it's really good to see that there is this growing competition, all spurred on from um, from Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast messing around with the OGL. So this is something that is a consequence for their tomfoolery, basically, and trying to mess around with something that wasn't broken, and trying to basically control or destroy the hobby that is not going to follow them to their next steps, so whatever they're looking to do with their IP. So yeah, reckless behavior has consequences, and this is certainly a sign of that consequence that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast are going to face, is the fact that their competition. We've already seen Shadow Dark broke $1 million. I was just looking at the Questing Beasts. His Knave Second Edition is pushing around $600,000. I believe that Tales of the Valiant was over 800,000 or something like that. So these are all either clones. I mean, Tales of the Valiant is really a clone of 5e. Knave Second Edition is not, and Shadow Dark is kind of a mix of some elements of 5e, but more of an old school feel about it, a much more simpler kind of a system. And so we're seeing publisher after publisher after publisher, hitting that level of where Wizards of the Coast was going to try to monetize off of their backs. That $700,000 or $750,000 mark. And here is company after company after company coming out and coming darn close, if not exceeding that level of success. That like I said, basically Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast were looking to capitalize on their work by taking a 25% cut or something along those lines. So it's really good to see these companies slowly break away from utilizing the OGL. Many publishers are stripping their editions from and putting out new printings that are tied to the core, rather than the Creative Commons. I mean, the Creative Commons rather than the OGL 1.1, or the 1.0A, or any of those types of things. So good to see that the hobby is moving forward, and and the hobby is slowly distancing themselves from the near monopoly 800-pound gorilla in the room that doesn't treat the community very well, even its own consumer base very well. And so that's basically my take. I see that Critical Role is moving from any relationship that it has with Wizards of the Coast and 5e, and that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing overall for the hobby. So thanks for joining. I know that this will probably get a whole bunch of likes and dislikes, and but tons of comments. I'm hoping tons of comments in there. Let's have it out on the comments section if you disagree with me, and we'll see where it all turns out in the just the next couple of months. We're about 7 months away for the remainder of the year, and we'll see where this lays out. So have a great day. Take care.